It is time for a guest entry. But first, a quick disclaimer. Most of the guests I've had on were recorded through Discord due to us being long distance. If the quality dips, it's due to my connection. But I hope each of these conversations brings you new knowledge of the creative and cultural arts. Greetings, fellow travelers and storytellers. Welcome to another guest entry. Today, I have Sarah Humpherys on to chat about her experience being a young adult writer and a passionate player of Dungeons & Dragons. She was nationally published at age 16 for her novel, Stone Cold. You can find her novel at the link in the description of this episode. Now, without further ado, here is our conversation. Hello there, my wonderful audience. Today I have an inspiring guest, Sarah Humpherys. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, it's good for you to have me on here.
So can you introduce yourself to the audience for me? For us.
Okay. Well, my name is Sarah Humpherys. I'm 18, and I'm just a very nerdy teenager who writes books and plays D&D way too much and asked for a katana for her 18th birthday.
Yes, that sounds great. So something about you also is that you've written a bunch of books, a bunch of fantasy novels.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay, well, I have one that just came out last January, actually. That's pretty exciting. It's called Stone Cold, and it's a romance fantasy.
Nice, romance fantasy. I haven't delved deep into that genre specifically, but I'm excited to see where this conversation takes us in that genre. Can you actually explain what got you started in writing fantasy novels?
Okay, well, it's just writing is something that I've just been doing for a very, very long time. Like, I learned to read and then I started writing.
Nice.
So I don't really know where I got it from. Maybe there was just like an innate desire in me to write stories and go on adventures. But I always loved reading, and I always loved magic and dragons and not being in this world for a little while. So I just started writing and coming up with my own ideas, and then I was able to get published. So that was pretty cool.
Is there any specific book that inspired you the most?
Ooh, I really like Brandon Sanderson.
Yes.
Specifically his series. It's a little less known, but his series Alcatraz versus the Evil Librarians was so funny to me because it was really meta about writing and like the culture around being an author and creating your own stories. So that was one thing that made me really enthusiastic about it.
Awesome. Are there any specific tropes that you use in your stories, or do you like to go against like the grain, so to speak?
I use a lot of tropes. A lot.
You got to do that in fantasy.
Yeah. Basically, any of give the audience what they want.
Yeah.
You know? But so any of my ideas are basically just tropes that I've read in other people's books and other people's TV shows, and I'm like, oh, this would be really fun for me to do it.
Yeah.
So, I just I don't know, main characters that are very special and like the villains go after them. That's a trope that I like.
Yes.
For some reason. I just like the idea of like this very young teenager that's like in danger a lot and going up against, a 300-year-old Dark Lord. And
I see. That's probably why you like anime so much, huh? Because it's always in high school.
I love anime. Like it's literally just high schoolers.
Yeah.
With the getting the pulp beat out of them by villains that they should not be facing.
Yeah.
But they put together a ragtag team and they win by the power of friendship. And for some reason, I just am a sucker for that type of story.
Yeah, animes right now are like the top notch like story driven stuff right now. I feel like in our culture nowadays. Like I will pick an anime over a new TV show from Marvel or something like that. Like 90%
They're
of the
just
time.
so creative.
Yeah, they
Love
are.
it.
And the animation styles are incredible. Like just how
yes.
all the new stuff that they've been bringing out. But anyways, that's also another topic that we'll get into. Another thing, like you are also into Dungeons and Dragons. What got you started down that route?
Well, I was in high school. I was senior year of high school, and I noticed that my friend every single day would go out to Macy's and buy snacks. So one day I asked him why he was getting all these snacks, and he's like, "Oh, because I'm a dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons, and I bring snacks to people." And I'm like, "Oh, well, Dungeons and Dragons is like the one fandom, like the one video game thing that I haven't gotten into.
Yeah,
like, I've checked the box for everything else, but not this. So let's try it." And I tried it, and I was really bad at it. But
I feel like that's how everyone starts.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I look back and oh my gosh, I was so bad at it. But I got out of high school, and over the summer I watched Critical Role, and
the first season.
Was like, yeah, the first season, and I'm halfway through the second season right now, and that just really got me into like, oh, I really like this game, and now I know a lot more about it. I know how to actually play, so let's play in college and see what happens. And that's been awesome so far.
Have you thought of, are you a DM yourself, or have you not dabbled yet?
My dad actually got so frustrated that all my family members were talking about Dungeons and Dragons over Thanksgiving break that he was like, "All right, let's do a one-shot together as a family. And Sarah, you're the only one who knows what's going on, so you're going to DM. Write a one-shot for us."
Okay, now I want to hear how that went, because I also have a story where my family like had me play. But the thing is about me is that when I first started playing Dungeons and Dragons, it was when 4th edition was out. 5th edition hadn't come out yet, and so it wasn't good for me to start. I didn't actually like it until my buddy got the Star Wars Force and Destiny game, and I'm super into Star Wars. So then we started playing, and then I'm a writer, so I wrote out this entire multiverse, and I was like, maybe I can make a game where like a game system for my universe and all that stuff. And then that's how I started basically developing my tabletop RPGs, and now I have literally like I've gone through several different iterations of tabletops up until like right now, where I have my current game, which is called Reborn in Power. But my family at one point was like, "Let's all play together," and I was like, "Are you guys sure about this?" It was crazy. But anyways, on to you. How did your family how was this one shot that you made for your family, and how did it go?
It was really hard actually, because I have two brothers, and both of them know a whole lot about D&D, and they break games. They break video games. They just find the exact right combination to just min-max.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And then my mom and dad, who haven't played D&D at all. So it was kind of hard to write something that was break-proof but also friendly to new players.
Geez, was that your first time DMing?
Yeah, that was my first time DMing, and literally I only know how to DM because I've watched Matthew Mercer do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, good baseline, but I still need actual experience.
Yes.
So
Dang.
Yeah,
I could only imagine.
Really interesting.
I could only imagine. Dang.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, my brother Johnny, he min-maxed his character to be really good on investigation checks. And it was like a prison break / dungeon crawl.
Yeah, so then
he was like, oh my gosh. At one point, so they were trying to plane shift out of this certain area, and they needed a tuning fork to do it, and they had lost the tuning fork, and it was in this horde. It was in a dragon horde. They were fighting a dragon and also trying to look for the tuning fork. And so my brother does not have the spell locate object, but he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in and try to find the tuning fork.
I'm just gonna investigate.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna say it, the DC is 30 because we're trying to find a tuning fork in a
horde,
in a dragon horde pile where everything's shiny and it's dark. And yeah, so the DC's 30, and oh my gosh, he rolled a natural 20, and he got like a 35 on investigation. So I was like, dang it, I'll give it to you. You like he's a warlock, artificer, multi-class. So I was like, your patron
what level
guides
were they?
your hand. Oh my gosh, they were level 5.
Okay. Jeez, wow.
Yeah. I was like, all right, you find it. Congratulations.
Dang. Yeah. Whenever, because my brother, when I started making my game, there was a point where, so my game is all about like the power that you receive when you go through a process of death and resurrection, and you basically gain power after something like that, where you come back to life, and you basically would get like a different kind of power, and it was almost like a superhero thing. But then there was one time where my brother decided, hey, I'm gonna have the power of omnipotence, and then I was just like, I was like, okay. And then he was like, oh, I know how to do this thing. I can do this thing. And I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. You're just breaking my game just because you feel like you could just break my game. Okay, I'll fix it for you. And so, yeah, that was a learning experience, and definitely need those when you are a new GM, or even playtesting your own game that you're creating. For you though, that was your first time actually DMing. Have you DM'd since then?
No, I haven't. But it was certainly interesting. I was like, oh, you have that spell? I didn't think of that. Dang it.
Have you ever thought about making like a homebrew setting, like maybe like if your books, like your books have its own world, maybe like bringing D&D characters into that world and having them like run through that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've written out stuff like that, because usually with DMing, like, it's kind of hard, like, coming up with a new world that players can explore and stuff. But yeah. I'm an author, so I can already just take like the world that I've made in one of my books and just transfer that over to D&D. So it would be really cool to do a longer running campaign. A lot of work and a lot of stress probably, but it would be fun.
It is a lot. It is a lot, but what I've found is that it's so much fun because it's a collaborative storytelling experience with other people.
Yeah.
The only thing is that you have to find that good, healthy balance of not railroading and letting the players kind of decide, but also making sure that there is a cohesive storyline going straight through. There's a lot of finagling going on behind the screen for those who have never played tabletop RPGs or are just a player all the time. There's a lot that goes behind the screen. But for your fantasy worlds, I actually wanted to kind of dive into those specifically. Is there a specific, like, what is your world called, and are there different like rules that the characters abide by inside your world?
Yeah, I've made a whole lot of them, and most of them are like high fantasy. Sometimes there's dragons and magic and stuff, and usually I write a magic system, and those are the rules that the characters have to abide by. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's really fun, like you can have like a desert, and there's an underworld, and there are these soul creatures that have soul magic and stuff. It just depends on what you think of.
Yeah, and I mean, if we touch on soul creatures, like, I'm curious, what are the soul? What is the soul creature inside your world?
Oh well, it's because I wanted to write a vampire story, but vampire stories have been done to death. So I wrote. You
have to be unique in that.
yeah. So I wrote a story that instead of feigned creatures, nocturnal creatures, super strength, etc., that like drink blood, they eat people's souls, and they have magic from their god. So they're kind of like death clerics. So it was fun to work with.
Interesting. That's interesting. do you have a favorite character that you've written inside these stories?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, that's really hard. Oh dang! All right, let me think. Dang it, that is really hard.
Or maybe a top three. Top three.
Okay, well,
or is that harder?
I like my roguish characters, the thieves, the assassins, the pickpockets. You know, I'm a forever rogue, so I like those types of characters, and so I have a few that are really fun, that just go around and steal things and morally gray. You know.
Nice. Whenever I've played like Dungeons and Dragons, I've never really played a rogue. I actually don't think I've ever played a rogue.
Oh.
Yeah. You like I don't know what it is. I know rogues, like, you know, you get your sneak attack bonus damage. It's just I like having a lot of attacks, and rogues don't really get a lot of attacks. Yeah. So it's like they're the only martial class not martial class, but like fighting class that doesn't get extra attack at level 5. So. Yeah, and I know that rogues are like they're good for like certain, like very specific kinds of campaigns. Like if you're dungeon crawling, you're doing that. But like I usually play really like role play centric political intrigues kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes rogues aren't the best to have in that kind of group because they'll go and steal something and then get in trouble.
I'm shady and my parents are dead. I've been to jail.
Yeah. But I mean, rogues are good. I feel like rogues are a good class if you're new to D&D and you're not looking for like too many things to do, because like if you're playing a wizard, you have a bunch of different spells to choose from. Whereas a rogue, all you need to really do is like, is your enemy next to one of your allies? I need to know.
Do I have advantage?
Do I have advantage? I haven't played D&D in I think a month now. I have an online group that I play with, and we've been playing. I have a warlock and a fighter inside that group. And rogue is your favorite class to play, right?
Yeah. Although, if you're looking for characters that, you know, social intrigue, role-playing, Warlock is a really good class, too.
Yes.
Because that's better for, like, customization, and I've made quite a few Warlocks, too, and they're fun.
Plus Warlocks, when you're making the character, the Warlock is like, they get powers from some kind of deity that they don't really know, like, or understand exactly what they're getting from them. It's like a pact that you make, and then you can actually give that to your DM, and then the DM can come up with some kind of elaborate story of what the heck what kind of pact you made with this maybe a demon, or like an eldritch monstrosity or something like that. Like in Critical Role, the season 2, you have Ford, right? Ford.
Ford.
I haven't listened to it in a while. I know they like had like a little extra thing at the end after they had finished the campaign, but I haven't gotten to listen to it. But it's definitely I really love season 2, and I love the characters that they have in there. Ford is one of my favorites, and his backstory. What episode are you on actually in season 2?
Well, no spoilers really, because well, you can say spoilers because I'm on episode like 87, so I wouldn't get spoilers.
Okay. So you already went through the whole pirate storyline.
Yeah,
that was
fun.
That was an intense one. Yeah, I've had some of those kinds of game sessions too, like that I've run. And have you had a very a super intense game session where like all your allies, your players, have like basically like almost TPK'd, but you were able to get out in time, kind of thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh.
Do you have any stories to tell?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm playing through the Curse of Strahd module right now,
Ooh.
and my DM is just drunk with power. Like, he's just... like, he is brutal. Like, we will only survive if he's merciful enough to let us survive. It's bad.
Oh.
Like, this is the 4th session, and we're, like, level 4, and a whole lot of wolves come upon us in the forest, and we're, like, 1 mile away from the town that we're supposed to go to.
Yeah.
But the 2 boys in my group are like, you know what, we haven't had combat all session, let's fight. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Are you sure you want to do this?
I know. Why would you voluntarily go into combat? There are like 15 wolves.
I don't know.
There
Sometimes,
are 3 of us.
sometimes I want to go into combat, but you know, there's also those times where you see something and you're like, "Ooh, I want to fight that thing because I could probably kill it," and then like 20 more come out of the woodworks, and you're just like, "Oh, I'm leaving. Bye."
Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was really intense because I rolled really low on health points and I have like a +1 con modifier.
Oh. So
I have like 23 HP right now, and so I can only survive like a couple hits from the wolves and then I'm down immediately. And and then the cleric goes down and I'm like, "Oh, dang, that's our healer."
That's not good.
Yeah, and then the other guy is like, "Wait, I'm an Aasimar. I can heal you guys, but you know it's really bad."
Lay on hands. Go.
Yep. And the DM is like, "All right, Kalissa," because that's my character's name. Like, "All right, Kalissa, the wolf is going to turn on you and bite you, and you lose 2 death saving throws." And I'm like, "That's mean. Why would you do that?"
Oh, don't worry. I was playing in Icewind Dale. The campaign module, and literally the first session, my way, no, it was a monk. It was the astral self monk but I hadn't got into the astral self stuff yet, and I wanted to because we were level 1, and then I get dragged away by wolves on the very first session, and I get eaten and die. And then I had to make a new character.
Oh no!
It was so upsetting. Everyone loved my character because he was kind of soft spoken, but he was there. And then we go into like a family's like hut or something like that, and then they're baking cookies, and my character just starts eating all the cookies, and then they're just like, oh, this guy's, you know, making cookies. And then my second character was an Aasimar, druid, but it was the Circle of the Stars druid. And
Ooh.
and yeah, it was actually a really fun build, but I made him like super dogmatic in his thought, and like just served his like Aasimar deity, and like just thought that everything good that happened was because of that deity. and all the other players were just annoyed by this character, but it was kind of funny. It was fun to play. But then he died by an ice giant, so that wasn't fun.
Oh no.
But
Oh my gosh.
anyways, off of that subject, I want to go over to anime because I like anime, and anime is one of the, I would say it is one of the things that have inspired me to like write better like world building content for my universe. For you, what is your favorite? Is there a specific anime genre that you enjoy?
Basically shonen.
Okay.
Anything with I like the characters. I like the fights, specifically the fights, and I like everyone's random abilities. And yeah, that's basically it. Shonen. I don't watch anything other than that.
Is there a top 5 favorites that you have?
Let's see. I like My Hero Academia.
Yes. That one's a good one. I haven't watched the new season, so don't spoil that for me.
Oh, the new season is really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good. I watched up until what's his name? The fire guy. He fought the
Dobby?
Endeavor, yes. He fought the Onu, and survived. That was the last thing I saw.
Yeah. So you're a little bit behind.
Yeah. But my hero is a very good one. Definitely recommend it to my audience. Go check it out. Any others?
Probably the others would be Fullmetal Alchemist, Demon Slayer, then Jujutsu Kaisen, and that's my top little bit.
So I haven't watched Demon Slayer.
Oh, it's so good.
I typically liked watching. So I'm weird. I like watching animes that are just not like no one knows about. I just watch like the random ones on Hulu or something like that. Because sometimes they're just funny and stupid, like stupidly hilarious.
Yeah.
But Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is like one of my top favorites. It's beautifully told with like the philosophical leaning behind it of the idea of God and how they portray God. That's like one of my favorite things about that show. If no one has seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, this is like spoilers for those who haven't seen it. Go see it. Pause this right now and go watch it. It's amazing. But basically, the concept where when they perform human transmutation and then go and see like the doorway, and then God is basically that thing that is you and everything and like all that stuff that is a
culmination of all knowledge.
Yes, and it is great to like see something like that inside an anime, because for me, I love diving deep into how like universes work and how the actual like physical laws work. And inside Full Metal Alchemist, it's all about the like how alchemy is the laws of nature. And there is a fundamental law of nature, which is equivalent exchange. Like you can't get out what you put in, kind of thing. And that is like, I might have said that wrong, but but yeah, that is one of my favorite podcasts. One of my favorite animes that I've ever watched, because of just how well they told the deeper aspects without really diving too deep into it.
Yeah, it was my favorite. It's one of my favorites, but it was the first anime I ever watched.
Ooh, so. Yes, that is a good one. That is a good one to watch. So are there any others like that you like? Have you watched? Here, let me see. Let me think. Have you seen Death Note?
That was the second one I watched.
Death Note, yes. That's a good one too. It's I wouldn't call it shonen though. What genre would that be? I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't really know. it's more like a genre, like psychological thriller. Almost.
Yeah. That one's a good one. And then let me see. Have you watched any of? I forgot. I don't know the names of the specific genre, but have you watched like the SAO kind of like Sword Art Online?
Isekai?
Yeah, Isekai. That's the one, I think. Yeah.
I've watched a whole lot of Isekai.
Yeah, those are funny. Like, because like Sword Art Online made that like super popular when it first came out. And then like now I watch them, and some of them are really like depressing too.
Yeah. Like an isekai is either really, really, really good or really bad.
Yeah,
and depressing. Like I don't think there's any in between. Honestly.
Do you like Are you one of those people that like watching animes to try to make yourself cry? Because I'm one of those people where like I want an anime that was gonna make me cry.
No. Well, I mean, it's always good when a story lets you feel emotion, and I try to search for those stories. But I don't like. I don't know. I didn't watch Your Lie in April because I knew it would be sad. I watched Your Lie in April because of the music. So
yeah, yes. Yeah, the music was great in that one, but like that one got to me. I also Angel Beats also made me cry. I don't know if you've seen that one. I've seen that one. Which was weird because it's only one season, and it doesn't really dive too much into the relationship between Angel and the main character, because I know like at the very end, like he confesses it. Another spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, but he confesses his love to Angel, but like there's no real build up to it. Like I like it's hard to see it, but still it's like it's really impactful how it ends, and you can literally binge watch that entire show in one sitting, because it's like I think it's like 8 episodes, or no, it's 13 episodes, and each one is like 30 minutes long, so you could binge watch it in like a full day, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but I definitely did it.
I've done worse. I've definitely done worse.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've binge watched
all of One Piece.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. I've binge watched Game of Thrones, a season and a half of Game of Thrones in one day.
Nice.
That was.
Oh my gosh.
That was hardcore. My girlfriend and I just like laid down on the couch like from like 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. Actually, maybe past 12, and we were just watching it because it was like the best part of the show, you know. And like when they end on cliffhangers, you're just like, I want to go and see what happens. Which actually has helped me out with my own game sessions, and when I run game sessions, is I know the best places to stop for cliffhangers. And I'm sure my audience really hates it too. So other than that, is there anything that you want to actually like talk about in regards to your into your stories specifically?
Well, it's always interesting when you when I don't know if you can relate to this, but as a writer, it's sometimes interesting when you try to I don't know how to explain this. Let's see. Almost like when you create characters and you put your own problems onto your characters and then write their arcs.
Yeah.
That's what I do a lot. It's kind of funny in my in the book that I actually published. I've written a lot of books, but I only published one. With that book, I have a lot of anxiety, so I just poured all of my anxiety onto my main character. It was really funny.
I think that like having maybe like, because I feel like I used to suffer from depression. I never actually got like, I never actually like went to get help or like medication or anything like that, because I'm one of those people who like I try not to label myself with certain things, but I like to try to use my writing to work out my problems. And I feel like that's also like a bunch of artists. Like I feel like if you pick out from a group of 100 artists, like probably like 80% of them are going to have some kind of mental problems or some issues going on in their life, and they use their art to help them kind of get through it. And it is a crucial component of having the spark to do something with a creative mindset. And it's interesting because I know creative people tend to be more, you know, they tend to have I don't know how to, I also don't know how to describe this, but they have like this tendency to take like be empathetic and then allow like a bunch of different emotions to come through them, but also like sometimes that can be like too much. And then like the way that the world works and everything in social media and how it like it kind of it affects us in multiple ways, it kind of makes us have to find a way to tell tell our souls basically. And writing is one of those outlets. I know art is an outlet for many people. Music is another one. And when I was suffering through some stuff, writing was my go-to thing. And I definitely did write some of my problems through my characters, but you know, we're fictional. We're fictional writers, so it was like more probably a little bit exaggerated, I would say.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps. I feel like it definitely helps, and it also helps you if you haven't suffered. I feel like you haven't known yourself yet. You don't know yourself until you suffer a little bit, and that's an unfortunate reality of life. I'm not sure if you agree with that.
Well, I do agree that that like sometimes when you're the most sad, you're able to discover more about yourself. Mm-hmm. Like that's the reason why like there's always a point in the story when the main character is hurt the most, mm-hmm. and they think they can't get back up again, but that's when like they discover something new about themselves, and they kind of heal over a little bit, and their character arc kind of starts anew and either finishes, because when you're sad and broken down, you get to be more introspective, and you get to basically discover what's most important to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you have to, when you're going through the emotions of it all, sometimes you do kind of have to take a step back, think about what you're feeling and what caused that, and then also think about if there's something that you need to change in order to better the situation. And sometimes that's really hard for people, because nowadays I feel like people are wanting to put the blame on something else rather than themselves. And I feel like having that introspective nature is a way for you to grow as a human being. And also stories help with that, because whenever you find a story that's relatable, it rocks you. That's the emotional part of it. When you hear a story that relates to you in some way, like sometimes it's not even something that you really expect. Like for me, I'll cry to certain, like I'm very in tune with my emotions, but I'll cry to specific things when it comes to like a father son dynamic inside a story. And it's something that I have a decent relationship with my dad, but it's also like when I'm thinking about like when I'm a future father, how am I going to treat my children, and how is that dynamic going to be? Am I going to be, like everyone has that feeling like, oh, am I going to be a good father, like a good parent or a bad parent? And then that also weighs their decision on it, whether or not they want to have kids. But it's like a deep, I feel like it's like a deep human desire to want to have a good relationship with your children, but not knowing that. And that is something that gets me, even though I don't have kids yet. And it's just like, it's an interesting thing to think about. Do you have any maybe like specific story elements that kind of bring that emotion out in you?
Oh yeah, I mean, it takes a lot for me to actually cry to things, but spoilers for campaign 1 of Critical Role, I guess. But when Vax was leaving and Vex was saying goodbye to him and saying, it's like a piece of me is going away, like, I don't accept this, why are you doing this? That hit me so hard. Like, I didn't cry at all, but when she said that was awful, because I have a twin brother, so I can relate to her directly, and so thinking that my brother would just go away and I would never see him again, like that was awful, and I think that's really cool that stories can like evoke that much personal connection and emotions in us.
Yeah, that is probably one of the biggest things that I love about storytelling, especially fiction, like, because like in any like fantasy or like you're suspending disbelief for like a bit. If you're going into a movie theater and you're watching like something like from like Star Wars to Marvel or something like that, and you're also watching these characters grow, and if a story doesn't have the character growth in it, then you're not really getting anything out of it. Like, yeah, maybe like it'll be fun visuals for like an hour and a half to 2 hours. But if you're not really getting the character development that you get character development in TV shows, animes, I would say, like have a lot of character development in them. Though some, I feel like Dragon Ball Z is like that one is, there is, I don't know. Some characters have character development, but I feel like it's mostly in their power level that is its character development than its actual like characters themselves. But it's definitely, I mean, actually, technically, like in Dragon Ball Super, I would say Goku has a character arc inside of it where he goes from his normal fighting way, and then he learns ultra instinct, and it's like he stops really like trying to react to an input, like, well, he stops trying to fight his opponent, but like starts to react to his opponent, and it's a different kind of character progression, but it's more like when a character has certain flaws, or maybe doesn't even have flaws, and then the character progresses down a road where it's like a tragedy, where
negative character arcs.
Negative character arcs. Which inside my podcast in the future, there's going to be one that people are going to get to listen to, and it is my most, like, I would say that series is probably on par with some of the best Critical Role content that I've watched, and like I have. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything like that. It's just more like the development of the character that it's one of my players. He made 2 separate characters. One is an evil character, and one is like a good character. He's trying to do good, but then like things start to like. They all like they both converge towards one another, and he basically has to play a bad guy and a good guy and fight against himself. And that, like, it's a full on series of events that just, it rocks you to your core. And yeah, it that kind of stuff, it drives me. It drives me to continue to tell stories.
Cool.
But yeah, is there anything else that you would like to discuss?
I don't think so.
Well, it was great talking with you, and do you have any places that you want to shout out, like any places that people can find your book?
Sure. My book is basically anywhere you can buy books. It's really nice because it's traditionally published. So
Nice.
you can buy it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or just anywhere you can find bookshelves. It's fun.
And what's the name of the book again?
Called Stone Cold.
Stone Cold, Amazon, and also I'll link to your site inside the show notes, so people will be able to find all the stuff, all the links. And thank you for coming on, and it was nice to be able to talk like deep like D&D stuff and tabletop RPGs. Yeah. I enjoy it. But yeah, if you ever want to, I also have a Discord server where we play tabletop RPGs, and I try to make it like open to everyone so that we can all, you know, have some fun. I mainly play my tabletop RPG Reborn in Power in it, but also there's going to be other players who are going to be running like I know someone wants to run Starfinder inside there. So if you want to try out different game systems, there's a place for you.
Okay.
But thank you for coming on the podcast, and I very much enjoyed it, and hopefully we can do this again.
That'd be fun.
Thank you all for listening, and have a great night. I thank you for listening to our conversation. Be sure to check out Stone Cold at sarahhumpherys.com. Also, if you'd like to explore more of the new expanding universe, there are links for that as well. Until next time, travelers, be safe, stay safe, and if death comes to you, may you be reborn in power.